I want to thank you all for attending today. I know that your time is precious and important. Today, we're going to talk to you about Pathfinder and basically selling and or innovating with the Department of Veteran Affairs. My name is Wendy Bray. If you've never attended any of my sessions that I've hosted or I've been on with my colleague Curtis, he is joining us today as well. And we do have our colleague from out of the category management office, Ashley Hammond, who will be presenting today. I will turn it over to her in a few minutes. I just want to cover some housekeeping notes. So this presentation is currently being recorded and it will be uploaded onto our YouTube channel. Everyone will receive a link directing them to our YouTube channel as well as a copy of the presentation. They will be two separate emails by tomorrow morning. You will receive an email with the link to the recording as well as to the presentation. We do have open our Q&A and our chat, but I ask that as Ashley is presenting today, please direct all of your questions in the Q&A as everyone starts to talk, because we do have quite a few people, over 200 people on the call today. In the chat, it's kind of hard for us, me and my colleague Curtis, to be able to identify those questions and make sure that we are responding to you. So if you are unfamiliar with where the Q&A is located, if you are on your laptop or desktop, on the right-hand side, you will see at the bottom of the screen 3 dots. If you click on those 3 dots, you will see the chat and you will see the Q&A. Please put the questions in the Q&A. If you are on a mobile device, either on your right-hand side or at the top, you will see 3 lines or 3 dots. When you click on it, you'll see 2 tabs. One says General, one says Advanced. If you click on the Advanced tab and scroll all the way down to the bottom, that is where you will find the Q&A. Again, please place your questions in the Q&A so that we can be able to respond to you during this live session today. All right, so without further ado, I will go ahead and I will turn it over to you, Ashley, so that you can present on this information for the audience today.
Well, thank you, Anchor. I am speaking here from Cincinnati, Ohio, where it is not raining. It's 50-ish degrees and it's very foggy. I think we are going to get some rain here, but I hope it holds out because I don't like it. It just makes you so dreary. So what I'm doing right now, I'm going to try to share this content, so please bear with me. I have never used WebEx, so Wendy was trying to help me prior to the start of this. So we're going to see if it works. We're going to go through this together. Great. Can you guys see my slides? You should be able to see the Pathfinder for vendors.
Yes, we can.
Slide. Great. Thank you so much. And I just want to say thank you for allowing me to come on today and speak with you fine, ladies and gentlemen, about this wonderful program we have here at the VA. And I want to thank the OSDBU training team as they work so diligently with us just so we can educate and incorporate all of our initiatives together as a whole for VA. So as Wendy mentioned before, my name is Ashley Hammond. I work for Dr. Ernest Reed in the Category Management Support Office, where the initiative of the Pathfinder program portal has been developed from. There's actually 2 different points made for Pathfinder. One is vendor management and one is innovation. I run and manage the entire vendor management piece of it, but I also manage the program as a whole as more of a administrative person. So all the communication or the correspondence that goes to me. And I am going to put a plug out here. So if anyone on this call has emailed me in the last 2 or 3 days, I've been huddled in my office getting some updates for training with another big project. So I am going to be getting to that correspondence late this afternoon and early tomorrow morning. So I do apologize and thank you for bearing with me. So as people might have heard from other conferences, Who Day. Yeah, Ted, Who Day. It's not looking good this year, but I'm still sticking with them. Some people might have heard of Pathfinder, some have not, and that's completely fine. Anybody, if you know anything, it's a real big process for us at the VA. Pathfinder has kind of come to serve us as the front door to the VA, a one-stop shop for our vendors and industry partners as a whole. So a VA Pathfinder is a digital concierge that provides each user with a tailored experience based on how each user answers questions as they move through our journey on our website, pathfinder.va.gov, which is on the slide here. Oh, did it not move? Oh.
No, it's still on the first slide.
Okay, that's my fault. I
Yeah,
moved it on my
it
side. I'm actually, I got it now. Sorry, so sorry about that. Like I said, I'm not that literate with VEX yet. So, users who are interested in selling to the VA in the portal, it's called Sell to VA, which is AKA the vendor management, have the opportunity to learn about how VA buys and submit their products or services to us at the VA and engage with relevant VA staff members. They will learn by navigating opportunities and finding tailored resources about how to sell to the VA. And then after our industry partner or vendor has completed this learning journey, they submit their products or service for VA's awareness through our vendor Pathfinder survey submission portal. Once that is completed, relevant VA staff members will engage with the submission through a course of a triage process that every vendor submission goes through. And that triage process starts with our CMSO folks. That's my group, the Category Management Support Office. We go and we tailor it to verify that all submission needed for vendor information is there, i.e. SAM registration, UEI number, small business certification, which I will put a plug out there. Those regulations have changed. It's now with SBA. So if you have any questions about that, I am sure our colleagues on the call from OSDBU can help out, and I'll be more than happy as well. But as mentioned before, there are two paths that you can experience within Pathfinder. One of those paths is vendor management, which I'm going to go back to the first page just real quick so I can show you. On the right-hand side here, it says, I want to sell to VA. So that's where you would go for the vendor management portal. And then there's another section right to the left of it that says, I want to innovate with the VA. And I do want to take a quick minute here. I normally don't, but I want to take a quick minute to explain the differences between the two. Innovation with EA is, I look at it as a pre-planning of a product or service. You know, you don't have a prototype or you're working on a prototype and you think that the product and service idea that you have would be very beneficial to our nation's veterans, and you would like to collaborate with the VA to make or produce that service. Vendor management is on the post. So I call it post planning. So now you have a marketable ready product or service that you either have the patent for, your company only makes it, or you are already manufacturing it or have already developed the service and it's available for purchase immediately. So the benefits of working with VA, that's what we all want to say, right? Well, this is wonderful. This is really exciting for me because we have reached a new and massive marketplace. The Veteran Health Administration serves over 6 million benefactors with an annual healthcare budget of around, over $100 billion. As we all know, it's a very large organization, which carries out a lot of potential of acquisition of industries, products and services. We want to spark opportunity with all of our VA medical centers and outpatient clinics, as there are countless opportunities that these new technologies, new features, new equipment could be utilized in a clinical setting. And it really could help our category management by providing enterprise-wide contracts to increase standardization across the enterprise. Now, I'm just going to put a little plug right here is just because you're entering into Pathfinder, it does not guarantee any type of procurement or acquisition. Again, this is the front door to the VA. It's to get your names out there. It's supposed to really just create transparency and communication between not only industry partners themselves, as well as our VA national programs and VA clinicians.
Hey, Ashley, are you still on the what is Pathfinder slide?
Oh my God, so sorry.
That's okay.
I'm really not this illiterate. I'm so sorry. I keep moving it on my screen, so I keep forgetting. So I'm so sorry about that, guys. And last but not least, we want to support our clinicians. You know, in addition to the mission of providing care for our nation's veterans, the VA also has the largest healthcare workforce with over 340,000 employees. And your products and services from the industry can help make working lives easier, and they can really focus more on the clinical services necessary and needed to those patients. So the benefit of using Pathfinder is Pathfinder serves several benefits to vendors who would like to engage with VA. An improved user experience, which it cuts through the red tape often associated with working with the VA. And we all know that can be kind of troublesome. And we've received feedback from vendors from the industry like yourself that have worked with us in VA, and it's not always the easiest and most transparent process. And Pathfinder was created to help reduce and solve that challenge.
Ashley, so I just want to test something right quick. I can
Yeah.
see your slides, but I want to test with the audience. Are you able to currently see the slide that says benefits of using Pathfinder? Okay, because I did see a few responses saying that
Yeah,
they
I saw
can't
a
see
few
the slide.
no's, but I see the majority of them are yeses.
Okay, perfect. If you are not able to see it, please log out and then log back in. It's different if you're using your laptop or your mobile device. I'll go ahead and turn it back over to you, Ashley. Thank you.
Okay. This is fun now, huh? I'm one of the crazy ones that get that have so much computer technology issues. And by also benefit of using Pathfinder can build better connections with VA and industry partners. Every Pathfinder submission goes through, like I had mentioned before, our CMSO staff, our category management support staff for review. And then it's our responsibility to share the submissions of each individual vendor with VA staff for awareness through the Pathfinder market research database. Finally, the vendor's product or service can improve veterans' lives by offering state-of-the-art private sector products and innovation, which is, you know, the real benefactor here. But I do just want to touch on something a little bit more from this slide is we have a new market research database. Originally, Pathfinder did not have this feature. And upon the 1-year review of this phase of Pathfinder, we really looked and heard what our industry partners and some of our VA staff were looking for. And it was really hard to go to several different sites to conduct market research or work with vendors, or folks in VA have no idea who the vendors are that they could communicate with doing market research. So Pathfinder said, well, we're getting all of these wonderful products and services. We're going to put them in a spot where after they're analyzed and sent out for communication, we'll put them here so folks at the facility level can always go back into the market research database to review. Okay, I'm going to go to the next slide. I'm reminding myself. So Pathfinder really helps our industry partners get ready to engage, i.e. sell with the VA. It provides them with clinical information on becoming qualified to provide the service and products to a federal agency. So again, I'm going to do a little plug here. We want you to visit the pathfinder.va.gov to learn more about what VA buys and who VA works with, including information about the Office of Management and Budget categories. So we being the VA, go by 10 regulated category management categories. That is how each individual submission is reviewed. They're tailored to specific categories: medical, IT, facilities and construction, professional services, so on and so forth. It explains more about the domestic products sourced and manufactured in the United States, consistent with the requirements of the Buy American Act, VA policies regarding veteran-owned small businesses and service-owned small businesses. It also, the vendors with market-ready solutions can solve problems by utilizing the system. And of course, our veteran-owned and our service-disabled veteran-owned businesses get priority as, you know, they have served our country. And that's something that is a reward for them, which is wonderful. Okay, next slide. So as I mentioned before, vendors submit their product and services to us through our survey form, as you can see on the screen here on the left-hand side, which users will find at the end of their learning journey. It's a very easy, simple templated form. The Pathfinder form includes questions about your company, the product and service that you are ready to sell, any prior experience with working with VA, if there's any, and your business socioeconomic status. If you do have prior experience working with VA, and we are looking at that as in the last 5 years, as there is a new executive memo to increase new entrants of vendors into the VA for diversity. There is a question that says, have you been in business with VA within the last 5 years? And if you put yes, please annotate the contract number if you have it offhand. That really does help us, because then we can see what exactly the VA has used the product on in the past, and it really helps for our data, and it really helps classify what department or services really could be using the product or service available. Responses for this option include multiple choice selections and free text response. So it's very easy and effectively communicating your information to us at the VA. Okay, I'm going to go to the next slide. So if you have used Pathfinder in the past, this should look familiar. If not, the VA, once they receive your submission, there's an automation of a confirmation email with the submission number and some key information about Pathfinder and the market research database. So here on the screen, you'll see that it says your submission ID is S dash ... So the number will always start with an S as in Sam and then a dash. This is very important to keep this number handy. If you contact me or my colleagues in the future because of a request or have any questions, we will ask for this information. But we are retailoring a lot of our templated responses, and we are restructuring the website to be a little bit more clean and cut and even more informative than it is currently, as we're now in kind of like our phase 2 of our program. So we just need to get some updated content and make it a little bit more fresh. You know, we can't just sit there having the same stuff, right? Okay, next slide. So the VA side, like I mentioned, a triage process is triggered when a vendor sends in a Pathfinder submission. First, our team at the Category Management Support Office acknowledges the submission and coordinates with the vendor to ensure that all products or services information is ready to be entered into our market research database. And then our small business support staff are also mobilized as needed to support small businesses with their submission. It is not a guarantee you will be contacted by a CMSO staff. This is just something that could happen if information is unclear to us, or we're missing information, or we have a question regarding something on the submission. Second, our Category Management Support Office shares the relevant submissions with our national program offices all across the VA. And of course, that includes our VHA colleagues, VBA, and NCA, as they are entered into the market research database as well. And then finally, Staff all across the VA nationally can review and engage with their current acquisition teams if they are interested in a particular submission of a product or service they find while using our market research database in Pathfinder to conduct their market research for their procurements. Next slide. So this is one of my favorite slides here. VA is making an effort to work with more small businesses, and this program of Pathfinder is really helping the agency achieve this goal. In just over a year and a half, Pathfinder has attracted over 170,000 website visitors and nearly 1,100 submissions just from vendors on the vendor management side with products and service they would like to engage with VA. And a really meaningful proportion of these submissions are coming from our women-owned small business companies, our veteran-owned small business companies, and our service-disabled small business companies, which is wonderful, as the VA does have a targeted to have 27% of our procurement vehicles be small business, and to directly target women-owned small businesses, we want it to be at 5%. And last year we were around, I think, 2%. We ended up the year with 2%. So this is really bringing in some wonderful vendors from different socioeconomic statuses that we may have not encountered in the past. Next slide. So I just really gave you the nitty gritty, the deep down and dirty nitty gritty. It's really simple, and it's what you make of it. So if you can, this is how you can use Pathfinder. You need to go to the pathfinder.va.gov website. I will put it in the chat, or I think Wendy might have already done that. You just submit your product directly to VA through our portal. And then what I would really enjoy and appreciate from everyone on this call, including any VA colleagues, is spread the word about our Pathfinder program and the market research database. It's still very early in socialization, and refer other potential vendors to our website if they have any product or service or innovation that they might feel is right for VA. Now, this comes to the conclusion of the vendor management portion of the Pathfinder session that I was doing today, but I know folks are interested in the innovation side. So I want to take a few minutes. I don't have a PowerPoint for that, because again, that's not my side of the house, but a colleague, Stacy Lewis of mine, she runs the innovation support model from that side of the house. And it's basically the exact same process. They just have different tailored questions related to innovation. I do not have any background in our innovation department whatsoever, but if anyone has questions regarding that, I will be happy to engage with you. There's an email here, VA Pathfinder support at va.gov. Please just send all your questions there. I know it's a new email box and it's not mine directly, but only myself and one or two other people have access to it, and I'm the one that normally does all the corresponding and connecting with our vendors. So Wendy, at this point, I think we can open it up, the Q&A. It's really small on my end, so I didn't know if you were able.
Sometimes they send it to different people. So I have a few. I've been responding to some of your questions in the Q&A. But the next one I was getting to is, what do we include if we have engaged with the VA in the past? I believe they're referring to when you mentioned if they have engaged with VA the past 5 years, they would check the box.
Oh, okay, yes. So this is just a multiple choice answer. It's a yes or no answer. And if you have engaged with VA, it asks specifically about the last 5 years. So any other contracts within that were 6 years or prior, that it's null and void. And then it also asks if you have engaged in any other federal agency within the last 5 years. And there's going to be access to a comment section where you can provide free text. And in that section, if you do have those contract numbers and the name of the contract, that would be highly appreciated, but it's not mandatory, of course. You know, we just are really trying to collect all the information we can so we can provide that to our clinicians, our national programs, our leadership, and just show how much engagement we have throughout the community. I hope that answers that question.
Thank you. When it comes to listing those previous projects in the last 5 years or more, do they need to list all of them or just the most recent?
No, just the most recent is fine, because once we have one, we have internal capabilities and tools for VA staff of acquisition workforce only, because of course that proprietary information, and we can look that up and then we can connect the dots using our internal database. So we just need one, and then we'll be able to find all the other history associated with the company.
Thank you. What if the service or product that they provide, it doesn't fit within the way that you guys are sorting when they place the information in, would they fill out the market research form? What happens with that information?
I guess I'm not entirely clear on the question.
You mentioned earlier that when you guys receive the market research form, it's sorted out and then distributed to whichever offices.
Yeah, by category. Yes.
One of the questions was their service or product might not fit 100% in one specific area.
Oh, right. Yeah, multiple. There's multiple. So a prime example of this would be a piece of medical equipment, because most of the time these days it encompasses some form of technology, you know. So we not only engage with our medical point of contacts at the national programs, but we also bring in our OINT colleagues. So just because it is in several different categories, whichever one it's the most associated with, that's the category manager that reviews it first. But it's then they share that information with all other parties that should be engaging and reviewing. So even though we do categorize by those 10 different OMB categories, there is internal communications within our departments to ensure everyone is getting what they need out of it, and they are all in communication together.
Our next question, what is the process for submitting multiple products under one vendor? Should they submit a different survey for each product?
No, so this is a great question. So this is one of the enhancements I am trying to get for this upcoming year for Pathfinder, because currently we've had vendors who have had multiple products and they do several different submissions. But what I think is the best thing, if there's a catalog of some kind that can be provided, because there is that free text, so you can explain the origin of the company and what overarching product or service the company provides. And then we also enhance the Pathfinder system website to include attachments. So now any attachments can be uploaded too. So feel free to give us everything you possibly can. I think it's too much work to put in multiple ones, and I don't feel like that's very customer oriented either for our industry partners. So I would prefer it if just one submission gets in. And like I said, I'm working on enhancements. It's something called communities for our internal database called Salesforce, to ensure all of the, like if a company has put in multiple submissions for multiple products, that it gets into one grouping. So in the market research database, I mean, so it's easier to see, hey, company X has all these products listed underneath them.
Thank you. We have an Apex, an advisor with the Apex Accelerators on a call, and they asked, can I register in Pathfinder site to help my clients?
Yes, I don't see why not. It's in, so is that an external vendor? Is that what that is? I'm not very familiar with that.
They're just like with the OSDBU offices, just the well, it used to be PTEX. So
so they're government employees?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. So whoever said that, please reach out to me personally, because I would, I'm always looking for internal staff to assist and help with these submissions to not
Well,
only,
not with VA, not their other government office. So the PTACs and the Small Business Development Centers. So the
yeah,
PTACs are under, if I'm not mistaken, DLA, Defense Logistics Agency now. But their role is basically advising and helping the small businesses navigate doing business.
yes, yes, yeah, just
Okay.
reach out to me because that's a little different. But yeah, we can have and we can engage, and I think we could have a really good coordination session and how it could benefit for both of us for sure.
So Debbie, just send Ashley an email. I think send
You can just
Ashley
use
an
that
email.
Pathfinder, VA Pathfinder support at va.gov, that the one that's on the screen. That's probably the easiest one right now.
So we have another question for vendors that may want to collaborate with other vendors. Are they able to see a list of other participating Pathfinder vendors on Pathfinder?
No. Um, this is because of the legality of proprietary information. So only generic information is given to our VA staff, but we do not allow anyone to change or review those submissions. But if you have the agreement between another company, we could all work together and set up a call, if that makes it easier. That's a little of that gray area, Wendy.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of getting into that legal standpoint of things. So I would really need to we would have to figure out the situation at hand to see what we could do.
Okay, thank you. There was
Excuse
a
me.
bit of a clarification concerning Pathfinder. So just to make sure everyone is not confused about with Pathfinder, we did receive a few questions about with Pathfinder, do they still have to go to sam.gov to look at those solicitations, or on the VA forecast of contracting opportunity site to view any forecasting? So basically Pathfinder is just a tool to introduce products or services to the VA, but the purchasing will still be done on SAM.
Correct. And there's all those links are in our Pathfinder website. So what we've done is to reduce the headache of trying to find the 3 or 4 different links you need to find to look for opportunities to register in SAMs. We have all of that on the Pathfinder site for you. And we actually go through step by step what needs to happen to get, sam.gov registered. Takes you to the registration, kind of gives you a little bit of overview. We do have access to the forecasting tool and model. So several different educational sites are attached and linked to the VA Pathfinder website.
So once Pathfinder has been submitted, what does the interaction look like going forward? Meaning, what will we see as far as an interaction between us and the VA?
Okay. So this is where we're starting a new process because we have that market research database. So originally, like I said in our presentation, you'll get an automatic email from the generated from the system, I mean. And then once it goes to the CMSO team, you will receive an email from that CMSO person. That person will engage as much as possible to make sure your submission is right and can check it off. And then what will happen is they will share that information with our national program office. Now, because this is not a guarantee procurement or acquisition, those procurement officers might reach out, but us and the CMSO, we're creating a new process to loop back around 20 to 30 days to see if any of our national program offices have reached out, and then we will communicate with the vendor and move the submission into our market research database, because at the time it doesn't seem like there is a need at that exact moment, but we might need it in the future, so we're putting it there. And of course, the VA staff is able to access that every single day. It's an ongoing production database. We just constantly keep adding vendors and what they can provide us at the VA.
Another question, should we use Pathfinder instead of submitting to the Vision Small Business Liaisons? Can we submit to a particular local VA unit or hospital? So I think originally, sometimes businesses, because we VA have our list of small business liaisons on the OSDBU website. They would go in and select a particular area or region, and then reach out to that small business liaison with their business resume or their capability statement. So I think the question is asking, instead of reaching out to them individually, each office small business liaison individually, should they began to just use Pathfinder when submitting their capabilities to VA?
So that's a great question. And we would like to see that, as Wendy is one of our small business from OSDBU that have been engaging with us on an everyday basis, reviewing content, helping our vendors with questions and concerns. So yes, go ahead and do that, as we are working also with the Small Business Administration to ensure that all of our liaisons from our small business personnel are in the site, accessing it and able to see it. Now, Wendy, that kind of goes out of my realm a little bit. That's kind of what we would prefer. I could feel like it's just less work on everyone else and less emails. But I also am going to kick it back to you to see if you have anything additional for that one question.
I do agree with that as well, because when you're submitting it to Pathfinder, it's actually being sent out to those individuals within whatever who are looking for that service or product that you're providing, instead of you just sending it to the individual who's the small business liaison. By no means am I saying do not send it to them, but it will benefit you. I believe it will benefit you in the long term, as far as your business visibility to, let's just say, for example, your business is enterprise wide and you can do or perform services or work on projects on the East Coast all the way out to the West Coast, instead of going in and then submitting a capability statement to all of these small business liaisons. You're just submitting it to Pathfinder, and that information is being distributed out to all those different areas. Thank you for that, Ashley. So our next question is a good question, because we do have quite a few subcontractors that are our participants during our sessions. So if they perform as a subcontractor, and specifically with this question for a manufacturer, how would they, or if you know, submit that information on Pathfinder? Should they mention, because on their capability statement, when they're documenting their past performance or projects, they are mentioning whether or not they were subcontractors. Is it the same way in the Pathfinder format?
Yes. So we actually now have added questions about manufacturers and things of that nature. And then we don't ask specifically if you're a subcontractor, but when we are asking about the contract history, if you've had a prime contract, we do ask about the prime. But then if you are a subcontractor, we are asking, because we haven't been able to update the survey form yet. It's part of the enhancement. And I would ask that you just put that in the free text content with your company information, because that's always great to have. Or if it's in the capability statement as well.
Thank you. There's another question. Do you have to be a certified company before utilizing the Pathfinder site?
You have to be registered in sam.gov, but I misspoke. You do not need to be registered in sam.gov, but to be a VA contracted vendor, you do have to be registered in there. And you do need to get, as a small business, you need to get your small business certification. So using the Pathfinder website and the teams available, we will help you in that regard, as Wendy and I have done very recently, mind you, I think, right, Wendy? Like last couple of weeks, we've helped a couple vendors. We will help you through the process. So even though you put it in and you haven't gotten your UEI number out of sam.gov yet, you're still able to use the system.
And
we
just to add,
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say, we just cannot provide that information to our national programs yet until we get everything for that. So we won't share the information until everything is finalized, because that way, if there is a program that is interested, it would be easier for them and yourself.
Thank you. And just to add to what Ashley was saying, if this particular question regarding certification is concerning veteran-owned business or service-disabled veteran-owned business, as I think Ashley stated before, you do have to be a certified business. I'm sorry, a certified veteran-owned or service-disabled veteran-owned business to be awarded set aside with the Department of Veteran Affairs. You cannot be self-certified. So if when you were asking about certification, that was the question. We do recommend, and we've been saying this for the past, I want to say 2+ years, concerning the whole transition with the certification program to the Small Business Administration, but definitely go on the Small Business Administration website. If you are a veteran-owned or service-disabled veteran-owned small business and you are not yet certified, to find out, work with their team to find out how you can get your business certified. Next question is, are vendors more attractive to the VA if we've completed the Pathfinder training? For example, will we be considered more desirable than some other vendors that have not participated in the program?
No, that has nothing to do with it. We are asking our contractors, our contracting specialists, officers, everyone in the acquisition workforce to really point our vendors to Pathfinder, just because we are trying to create a one-stop shop for a market research database. But in no way, shape, or form does anyone get tiered credit over the other base of the system. It's just about the need of what the VA and the clinicians need to perform, the treatment of our veterans.
Thank you. We received a few questions about the Q&A. If you would like to receive the Q&A, I do recommend that you email us at our email address, OSDBU. As a matter of fact, I'll put it in the chat. But I do want to say, before you request for the Q&A, majority of these questions during this session today were answered verbally. So if you do request for the Q&A, a good sum of the questions, if you're just requesting for it to see what questions were asked, then fine. But if you're requesting them to see what questions were asked and what responses we gave, that information would be on the recording, because we're just marking saying that the question has been answered verbally. So I'll put the information in our chat if you still want to request for the Q&A, but usually we only send out the presentation and a link to the recording. And thank you, Debbie. Debbie said that the Apex accelerators are now under DoD Office of Small Business Programs, not DLA. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I thought there was some type of communication. Yes. So I'm sorry, I believe her name is Debbie. Debbie, please reach out. I'd love to have a conversation with you, and then we can go from there.
So this question is, because I know Pathfinder is fairly new. Does the VA actually use Pathfinder to find service vendors providing services like, and I'm not familiar with these abbreviations, but HCD or UX?
I think UX is user experience. I don't know. And what was the other abbreviation?
HCD.
Human capital. I would think maybe human capital. That's what I'm thinking. But we have people who are starting to human-centered design. Okay, so I was on the right track. Thank you. I knew it had to be something with the user and the experience. Yes, we are starting. People, i.e. the VA staff, are starting to use the market research database. Like I said, it's very, very, very new. But this is a tool we're hoping to advance even further within our VA community, and to reduce some of the administrative time that our clinicians have to use to do their market research. So we really want our clinicians to focus more on, what they're hired for. If they're a doctor, they'll be able to see more patients if they don't have so many places to go and visit. So if it's in one, that's why we're trying to do the one-stop shop. I don't know if I answered that all the way, but kind of got off on a tangent.
So I'm not sure if you're able to answer this next question, Ashley, but they said, will VA contract specialists use the Pathfinder? And the second part to that question is, will this help eliminate requesting for those sources sought for services that have been provided by service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses for years?
So I can't answer the second half of that question. But the first half is yes, our contracting officers and specialists have been provided training, and leadership has been advising them to point vendors to the Pathfinder submissions, and then that is an available tool.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I will have to say, I can take a couple more questions, but I do have a hard stop here in about 4 minutes.
Okay. So this last question is, if one has an FSS schedule through the VA, where do we note that on the Pathfinder? Would they put that in the comment section?
Yes. Yes. And that's awesome to hear, because then we can actually refer that back into our internal systems. That's really cool.
Thank you. Thank you for this, Ashley. I know you have a hard stop in about 3 minutes. So I do want to thank you for attending today. I want to let everybody know on the call, if I did not respond to your questions, some of those questions that you may, see like, hey, she skipped over mine. I skipped over it because I would probably need more additional information, or I need to, I don't have a response for it. So I need to reach out to my colleagues to be able to get your response. So if we did not answer your question today, please don't think that you're leaving a call today and you're not going to get a response. Please allow me up to next week. I will go ahead and look at our Q&A. I will also look at the chat, because I saw that there were some questions coming in, even though I was reviewing the Q&A, and I will get those responses sent out to you at a later date. Again, Ashley, I know I've been saying this the whole time. I want to thank you for coming in. I want to thank the audience for attending as well, getting this great information. You need to reach out to have any questions concerning Pathfinder. It's VA Pathfinder support, va.gov, what's located on the screen. And for us, you'll receive an email from us, so you can always just hit reply. And if you ever have any questions with the Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization, we do host 101 meetings, 15, 30-minute one-on-one meetings if you have quick questions, if we don't direct you back to the small business development centers or your advisors with the Apex accelerators. And we do host some one-on-one sessions with reviewing business capability statements if you have a question, because I always like to say that really when you're submitting this interest form, it's just like the development of your capability statement. So it's easier if you've already had your business resume developed or your capability statement developed, to go ahead and input that information on Pathfinder. Do you have anything that you would like to add before we close out, Ashley?
Oh, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. It's always wonderful to be on a call. I know we couldn't have a more informal conversation, but this is a program that I've been working on from the foundation up. So please, please, please bear with us. And we do take recommendations. Like if you feel like there's a gap somewhere, if you have a solution of something that might not be great on the website, or we're missing information on the website that you would like to see that would help our industry partners, not just yourself, please use the email on the screen here, VA Pathfinder support at va.gov, and just shoot it over to us. Because I've actually been working with a couple different companies, large and small, outside, to enhance some of the features and capabilities that Pathfinder currently has. So I just want to put that plug out there. And again, Wendy, if there are questions that we need to go over, I'm more than happy to connect with you tomorrow. I do see there is something on here about innovation and more information about the innovation side of the house. So I'll have to reach out to my colleague, like mentioned before at the beginning of the presentation, Stacy Lewis, to see if they do have a PowerPoint, or if we could get another presentation for them, but that will be at a later date, and I really have to work with that office. But again, thank you to everyone on this call, and thank you to OSDBU and the training team for allowing me to attend today.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.